This is the bag that we're going to be making, and we're going to be using a zipper, an eyelets, a zip cloth, and the leather. So this is the thickness of the leather that I recommend for this kind of bag. Thick and very thick. So the other side is fluffy, feels like fur. It's furry. So it is called thick skin in the market, or you can use double face as well. So for the bag, I'll be using 8 by 10 as my measurement. So the height of the bag is going to be 8 and the width is going to be 10, and that is 10 that I am measuring. So I'm measuring 10, which is going to be the width of the bag. I'm going to do a very straight line so that I can cut other things using the same width. So after drawing out my width, I'm going to measure the front or the back. There's really no difference. So that's going to be 8 inches. And then I will rule out the 8 inches line. So that is 8 by 10. Then I'm going to go for to measuring the base, and that is going to be 3.5. So the base is going to be 3.5. Then I'm going to rule that out. So that is as well 3.5 by 10 inches. Okay, so for the other side, which is either the back or the front, depending on which one you want to make it, then I'm going to make that 8 inches as well, because it's going to be the same as the base. So the back and the front, they are going to be the same measurement. So I'm going to draw the line and then cut it out. Having cut the body of the bag, I'm going to be cutting the long handle, and I'm going to be cutting it from the longest side of the leather, and I'll be using 2 centimeter as the width of the handle. So I'll cut it till the end. So that's the longest side of the leather, and that's probably going to be 55 inches. From 46 to 55 inches is okay for your long handle because it will be adjustable. Okay, so that's 2 centimeter by the length of the whole leather, the longest part of the leather. So for the short handle, I'll be using 1.5 inch. So I'll be cutting 1.5 inch by 16 inches for the short handle. So I'll be cutting two of the short handle, one for the front and one for the back. So the short handle, they are going to be two, and then that is 1.5 by 16 in two places, and I'm going to cut it out. In order to cut the side of the bag, I'm going to first draw a 0.5 inch line for the side of the bag. I'm going to draw a 0.5 inch line. Then from the 0.5, I'm going to measure the base of the bag. The base of the bag, which is 3.5. So from the 0.5, I'm going to measure 3.5. That is to represent the base of the bag. And I'm going to draw the line. Okay. So after the line, then I'm going to measure another 0.5. 0.5. So I'm using 0.5 to cut in this bag. It's possible to use other measurements aside 0.5, but for the sake of this bag, I'll be using 0.5. So from the base as well, I'll measure 0.5. So 0.5 from the base as well. Okay, then from that line, I'm going to use the height of the bag, which is 8 inches. So the height of the bag from that 0.5 line, I'll measure the height of the bag. That's 8 inches. And then I'll draw the line as well. Okay, so from the 3.5 in the middle to the 0.5 line I first drew, I'm going to slant it. So I'm going to create a slant, and on the other side as well I'm going to create a slant, and then I'm going to cut it out. And remember that this is the side of the bag, so I'm going to be cutting it in two places. So I'll cut out the first one, then I'll use it to cut out the second one. So remember the line that we slanted, you're going to slant it, you're going to cut it out, and then the 0.5 by 0.5 inch box beneath, you're going to cut that box out as well. Okay, so I'll be using the one I cut to cut out the second one, to cut out the second side, or you can call it side, you can call it panel, you can call it gusset. Okay, so make sure that they are the same, they're identical. So that is it for our side. And so for the base, for the side that is going to be holding the zip, the side that is going to be holding the zip, I want to reduce it by 1 inch. So since the bag is 10 inches, the side that is going to be holding the zip is going to be 8 inches. It is going to be 8 inches, then by 1.5. So 1.5 to represent half of the base of the bag. It's not up to half though, yes, because you do not want the top to be wide, to be as wide as the base. So that's why I'm using 1.5. So that's 8 inches by 1.5 in two places. Eight inches by 1.5 in two places for the zip side. For the side that is going to be holding the zip. So for the short handle of the bag, I'm just going to use a curved object to curve the tip of the handle. So I just use the curved object, the cover of a container. That's what I used to curve it. You can use any curved object that you can find around to curve the tip of the short handle. So you do the same for both handles, for both ends of the handles. Okay, so we're going to be sewing now, and first thing we want to sew is the long handle. So I'm just going to fold it into two and then sew all the way down. Okay, so for the short handle you measure 2 inches, so you start sewing from 2 inches. So you place your needle on the 2 inches side, and then you start sewing from 2 inches. Okay, so you measure it again to be sure 2 inches down you're not sewing, so you want to end the stitching at 2 inches as well. and then you double stitch. So you do the same for the second handle. From start sewing from 2 inches, and you end the stitching at 2 inches before the other hand. Okay, so that is it for the handle. If you have a pipe, a black pipe, you can put it inside. If you want to use hose as well, you can as well put hose inside to make the handle sturdy. But in this case, I'm not using anything. So for the zipper, so I'm going to be putting the zip clothes. I'm going to attach the leather we cut for the zip and the zip clothes together. Okay, so you cut it there, and then you bring the zip underneath the leather. So to make you see what I just did again, so you fold it underneath it to stop the zip from escaping that part, and then you double stitch on that end. So you do the same for the second side. You fold underneath, and then you double stitch, and you continue sewing, and you double stitch at the end as well. So the zip allowance that we left is so that we can be able to open the bag fully, so we can see how it turns at the back. So I'm going to find the middle of this and notch it. So I've just notched the middle the tiniest way possible, that it won't be visible to any other person. And so the body of the bag as well, I'm going to notch the middle. I'm going to notch the middle of the body of the bag as well, so that I can be able to fix the zip and as well as the handle, so it will be accurate. So the notched side of the body of the bag and the notched side of the zip side, I'm going to put them together and I'm going to sew. Okay, so you sew to the each sides of the body of the bag, the zip side, and then to the other side as well. Find the notched parts, and then I put them together, and I'll sew from the beginning to the end of it. Okay, so having sewn the zip side, I'm going to fix the handle of the bag. Okay, so from 2 inches from the middle, that notched part, 2 inches from there, I want to make sure the handle is standing over there, and 3 inches from the top. So I want to make sure it is 2 inches from the middle and 3 inches from the top. Then I'm going to widen that part where I stopped the sewing of the handle in the first place, and then I'm going to start my sewing from there and sew round. Okay, so I'm going to sew that round. I'm going to press it down as well so I can sew into the handle. Okay, so that ends the sewing for the first handle, for the first side of the handle. Then I'll do the same for the second side, 2 inches from the middle and 3 inches from the top. And then I'm going to sew. So I'm going to bend the handle towards the side, flatten it very well so I can sew into it, and I'm going to sew around. So if you put cord, it's not cord, it's black pipe. If you put a black pipe or even a hose into the handle, make sure that it enters into the body of the bag or the body of the handle. It's not just stopping at where the sewing of that first sewing stopped. It enters into, that means it enters into that flat part of the handle. so that it can make the bag to the handle of the bag to stand well. Okay, so again 2 inches from the side and 3 inches from the top, and then we sew again. So I'm going to make an eyelet hole on the side of the bag. So I'm going to make sure that it is at the center, and I'm going to mark it and create a hole. So this is a knife, a blade, is a pen knife. So I just use it to create a hole for the eyelets. So that's where the long handle is going to come from. So 1.5 inch from each side, that's the middle for me. And then I'm going to make a hole for the eyelets, and I'm going to fix the eyelet right here in your presence without using any other tool aside the scissors and the hammer. Okay, so I'll fix the eyelets, and I'm going to cover it up with the eyelet cover, and I'm going to use the scissors to create an opening on the sides of the eyelet and press it down. So I'm just going to press it round, and to make it flat I'm just going to use an hammer so that it won't injure anybody. So I'll follow the same process, use the scissors to open the mouth of the eyelets and make sure it is slipping on the flat part of the eyelets. And I'm going to use an hammer to finish it off. Okay, so I've successfully fixed the eyelets, and we can see it. So I'm going to fix the side, the gusset to the body of the bag. So I'll start from the top, from the beginning, and I'm just going to sew down. So I'll double stitch that, and I'll sew all the way down. Of course I have to put oil so that it moves well. And when I get to that point, I'm going to bring the mouths together. That box that I removed, I'll bring the mouths together, and then I'll sew it. So I'll make it a continuous sewing, so there's not going to be space there. I'm going to bring the mouths together and sew. Okay, so as well, I'll bring the mouth of this together to join that base, to join it at the base, so it helps us our bag to form a shape. So just bring the mouths together and then you sew straight. Okay, if there are any excesses, you can trim that off, and then you cut the threads. So the same thing for the other side. We'll fix the side of the bag. Okay, so at that point you bring it together again. You bring the edge, the mouths together. You make sure there's no space in between them. Just make it a continuous sewing. Okay, so bring the mouths together once again at that end. Push it very well to make sure they touch each other, and then you sew all the way down. All right, so that ends the sewing of the old bag. Since the side is joined, we have the handle, and now we're just going to fix the long um handle on the bag. So you can trim excesses. If there are excesses you didn't sew where, you can trim. Then the corners, push them in, make them flat, push them in. Okay, so you want to fix the long handle of the bag through the eyelets, and then you tie that. So that's how the long handle is going to come from. So you insert it from outside, and then you tie it on the inside. So now the long handle has been fixed. Then we're going to have our zip. So you fix the zip head on the zip cloth to make a zipper, and you want to close that up using a leather. So you just fold the zip to the back, and then you cover it up with a leather, and then you sew on it. You double stitch that, and then we trim. So you trim it and cut all the excess threads. Okay, so make neat, finish it, and we have our bag.